This is Spare Time Repair, and this is a Toshiba XR-J9 CD player from 1986. This model certainly had an unusual form factor, because although it may look small enough to be portable, its fixed mains cord and lack of battery compartments suggest otherwise. If it was intended for travellers to use with headphones, it's odd that the RCA plugs are fixed and not removable. The eBay listing for this one said that it made a humming noise when powered up, and that turns out to be the spindle motor, which runs constantly even when the disc platter gives up. Given the nature of the fault and the dust and grime inside, my optimism for repairing it is pretty low, and I think my curiosity may have got the better of me when I decided to purchase it. I think the reason I was drawn to this is because my first ever CD player was a top loader, and so this does have a sort of nostalgic charm to it, for me at least. But that motor sounds horrific. It certainly doesn't seem like anything that would be a simple fix. There's also something rattling around in here, which is never really a good sign, especially in a small device. This slider, by the way, is horrendous as well. I don't know where this was stored, but it's just full of grime. I noticed also the power LED doesn't come on. Getting the case off is normally the easy bit. This screw here seems to be missing, and I didn't remove that. Well, that's just fallen out. It looks like a shock mount for the transport, maybe? That slider extends upwards, so it can't be that needs to come off. Oh, finally. It's kind of gunged in there with something. Well, I'm not much further forward. Clearly this PCB has to come out. Well, it looks like this might lever up if I push in the power button. Careful with these flat flex cables, so I'll disconnect those now. I think I'll get that mixed up, but I'm going to mark that as top. Okay, getting the transformer out is helpful. Alright, I think the main thing holding it in is this power cable, which is soldered directly to the board. I think I'm going to have to desolder that. Oh, in fact, that's the RCA, that's not the power, is it? So I think this little switch detects when the lid is closed. So we finally get a good look at the transport mechanism. There's our missing shock mount, probably not critical. And it's not actually as dirty inside as I thought it might be. This is obviously our suspect spindle motor. Well, I doubt it's going to be a problem with dirty contacts. Really, the only one I can see is this limit switch here. Well, doesn't seem the best. Maybe I've just not got my probes on there properly. Just soaked some paper in contact cleaner. Well, that is better. Let's have a look under here. This is where the power LED is. It does appear to be completely dead. It's an unusual form factor, so it can be tricky to replace. Probably the least of my worries at the moment. Let's see if we've got life in the sled motor. Well, I think we need to service that spindle motor, although that wouldn't explain why it was spinning in the first place. I'm going to check this little switch that senses the door is closed. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Well, I can totally remove this transport from the case. It's not going to come through, is it, because of the spindle platter? Oh, yes it is. It was just the magnet from the puck that was holding it down. Well, I can't remove this motor without removing the platter. When removing the platter, you need to make sure you know what height it's at, because that's important for the focusing. On here, the underside is basically level with this black plate here. So that's a good gauge for me to use. So I need to lever it off there somehow, trying to apply even force to both sides. Oh. Okay, easier than I thought. So now I can remove the motor itself. Perhaps I should desolder it first. I'm now wondering whether it just wasn't reset properly, because when the sled is in the home position, it closes this leaf switch here. And when I opened it up, that was open. I guess maybe this just stops this motor running. This is possible the bearings have gone in this, but that might not be the main problem. So I'm just going to try to desolder this. Alright, so now we can release the motor. Yeah, it doesn't feel good. Just going to run 4 volts through it, see what happens. Yep, that's not running smoothly. Not sure how serviceable it will be. It's a Mabuchi motor. I tried popping this cover off, but it just wasn't coming. And I'm not sure this is intended to be serviced anyway. Just try a little bit of oil. Well, maybe quieter, but it still feels rough. Well, you can still get these, but the price is prohibitive, really. And since I think it's a symptom rather than a cause, I'm going to leave it for now. But on the off chance that it was this limit switch that wasn't in the correct position, I think I'm going to generally clean this up. Also clean the case, because if it is working, I don't want to have to take it all apart again. So if I remove this display board, I should be able to give the main casing a very good clean. Oh, I think I missed a screw. There we go. So all these front panel buttons, like they're just clipped in. Or are they melted on? I think they're melted on, or glued on at least. Well, it's not a big problem. I can wash it. I'll just have to let it dry thoroughly. I feel the lid should spring up more than this. I think this is just corroded and this spring is not great. Doesn't help that this screw is missing. Wonder if I can pinch one from somewhere else. Well, for what it's worth, I'm going to give everything a good clean, put it back together and see where we are. Well, it's better than it was. There's still a lot of scratches. Inside we're looking a lot better. That missing screw is a problem though, as the lid is kind of flapping about. So next I'm going to clean up the sled rail. Some old grease on there we can clean off. Hopefully we can force an alcohol soaked cotton bud through here. So I'm going to remount the dodgy motor. So now we can put the spindle platter back. That looks about perfect. Well, I'm hoping I can loosely reassemble this for testing, rather than trying to pack everything back into the case. Strange that this display doesn't have a backlight. There is room in there for potentially adding one, I think, but it doesn't look as though it'd have much effect. Well, since this top cover is now clean, we can reassemble this without any worries. Just gonna make sure the inside of the lens is clean. Oh no. You know, I saw this and thought I mustn't forget to put that in before the PCB. Well, I have to sandwich it back together in order to reconnect the flat flex cables. But before I do that, I want to look at this volume slider, which feels really bad. A lot of dust in here. Doesn't look like it comes apart very easily though. Maybe this slider unhooks. Yeah, it does. I can't disassemble this part because it's sort of riveted on there. So I'll just have to use some contact cleaner. Feels better. Forgot to check for bad capacitors, but they all look okay visually. This micro switch goes in here, but it was attached with this bracket that just fell off, and I didn't really see how it worked. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Ah, there's a little post here. There we go. This is a horrible thing to reassemble, and the worst thing is it's almost certainly not going to work, and I'm going to have to take it apart again. Actually, because there's not much slack on here, I'm going to desolder this so that I can seat it in there and not have to worry about it coming loose while I fit the PCB. I think I remember, but I'm just going to mark these pads. Alright, so that's now down there, out of the way. Well, perhaps I should address this LED now. I mean, if nothing else, if we can get a power light when it turns on, that'll be something. So obviously this is specially shaped to go through the front case, but I'm wondering if I can just cut the top off and stick it to the top of this one. Maybe cut the top of this one off as well. So yeah, just hacksawed off the top of a normal red 5mm LED. Did the same with the other one and super glued it on. Well, I think it's assembled sufficiently for testing. Should be okay sitting like that on the mat. Let's turn it on. Well, the fact that we haven't even got a display suggests to me there's something seriously wrong with an IC chip. You know, with the internal logic, because I've just got nothing to go on. I don't think I can even troubleshoot it like this. And to add insult to injury, my LED's not even working. And yeah, predictably enough, there was nothing wrong with the old one. I thought I checked it. Well, this could be a transformer issue because the transformer is currently too hot to touch. 96 degrees C, which is 215 degrees Fahrenheit. I've downloaded the service manual as well, and I'm not getting any of the voltages that I should be getting on the board. I've disconnected the transport, by the way, so that motor isn't running all the time. So according to the schematic, this voltage regulator should be giving us 5 volts, 5.6 volts and 10 volts on its 3 legs. So, got nothing on there, nothing on there, nothing on there. It's just not getting the power. I've checked these rectifying diodes and they're okay. Well, I may have found the problem. I've removed a capacitor from here, which was near the power inlet. It must be a filtering capacitor. And we can see on the meter, it's gone short. So that would explain why the transformer's overheating and suggests that maybe it's not a problem with the transformer at all. So I do have a replacement. I'm going to let this transformer cool down completely, then I'm going to retest it and see whether it still gets hot. Well, it's now the following day because I ran out of time yesterday, and I haven't plugged it in again yet because I want to check some of these other capacitors first, because it's possible that this one was just another symptom rather than the cause, because that short circuit could easily have damaged other components too. So I'll do that off camera and see if anything turns up. Well, I haven't checked everything, but I've been over it generally and it seems to be okay. I did replace this other capacitor that was next to the one that had gone short, mainly because it's in the line of fire from that overheating transformer. But otherwise, I think we can plug it in and test it. So I'm going to check the voltage on this voltage regulator, and if that looks good, then it's a pretty good sign. So powering up now. The LED has come on, which is a good sign. Right, so we should be getting, what was it, 5, 5.6 and 10. Okay, 5.7, 10, and 5. Looking good. Well, for the first time I have some optimism. So I'll power it off, I'll reassemble it properly, and then we can test it again. Alright, we're back together, so hopefully it's going to work. Powering on. We have a display, and the spindle motor is not running. I was a bit thrown because it didn't read the table of contents, but it appears to be playing. Let's plug in the headphones first of all. I just can't believe this is working. The volume slider feels good now. And this is strange. The pause button is separate from the play button. And it also doubles as the stop. Oh, come on. Well, that's not working. So there's no way of stopping it. Well, that spindle motor is obviously working. It's not as quiet as it could be, but you wouldn't hear it over the music if it was amplified. Also, I don't think there's a fast forward option, or maybe you hold this down. No? Would have been perfect if that button worked. Thing is, I don't want to open it while it's still playing. Oh, it just worked. Okay, so it pauses initially and then stops. And it also serves as the program button. Oh, it seems to be working now. Obviously just needed a bit of repetition. Well, I'm delighted that that is working. I'm surprised it doesn't read the TOC when you close the door, but I don't think that's a fault. I think that was how it's intended. But I do still need a screw for this lid because at the moment it's sort of coming off. I've also got some acrylic polishing compound, which I might try on here because it does really spoil the look of it. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can find a screw for this in my spares bin. Well, remarkably, I've found one. Hopefully it fits. No. If I remove the other one, I can use that as a template. I think they're the same thread size, it's just slightly shorter. So it's just not quite biting. I just tried a different one and that one works. Oh, that's better. Well, I should probably remove it anyway in order to polish it up. And also got these polishing wheels for use with a rotary tool. Well, with more patience, I'm sure I could get it looking even better, but I think that's an improvement. Well, I downloaded the manual and it is normal behaviour for it to not read the table of contents. So you literally insert your disc and then your only option is to press play. The output is quite low. I had to turn it up louder than usual on my amplifier. But I don't think that's a fault. I think it's just the way it is. And after pressing it lots of times, this button now seems to be okay. So one press will pause, and to resume you need to press play again. And to stop it, you press pause and then press it again. So once you have pressed play and then stop the disc again, the table of contents is available if you press the display button. And then it returns to 0. There are no further cycles. And the same when it's playing, it will tell you there's 9 tracks after this one and the total remaining time of the album. And then it just goes back to the normal display. So what do I think of this machine? Well, it's more of a curiosity than anything else. I can't imagine using it as my main player. And like I said at the start, I'm not really sure who it was designed for. But I suppose that's why it was kind of unique. No one else was making players like this because I can't imagine there was really a market for them. Having said that, I'm delighted to have got it working again. I really didn't think that I would. And I'm quite surprised that that shorted capacitor didn't damage anything else. Anyway, I hope that was interesting and a little bit different. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.